Hey, this is Reginald Perryman, regisrealestate.com. Today I'm going to break down the behind the scenes look, what it means to be a listing agent, what it is that we do, and what exactly happens when you have a very hot listing. So today we're going to look at a listing that I have on Greenview. This is a property listed in Detroit, average condition property. It has some updates, newer furnace, newer hot water tank, and it has a few issues with the property, but overall it's a solid property. Price is low. It's a lower price point property. If you see here, the property was listed, the list date was 12/29, couple days after Christmas, just before the New Year's. You would think that the market was slow during this time. So here's point number one. Most buyers or sellers, the general public, think the market slows down during the holidays. Well, here's what happens, right? So the first day, and I have to point this out, the very first day the house goes on the market, some random buyer walks up to the property, knocks on the door, scares the hell out of my client, and she's like, oh, no way. If this is how this is going to happen, I'm going to hold off on showing the property until my husband is at home. Well, keep in mind, this property went active on December 29th. She said, okay, we're not doing any showings until Sunday, January the 2nd, and I only want showings between 11:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. Well, guess what happened? We started receiving, I'm just going to go here to my filter box and my email. We started receiving blind offers. These were sight unseen offers. So if you can see in my offers inbox, you can see all the offers we received. And this started January 1st. You can see here on the right side, we started just receiving offers. These offers were good, solid offers, but I don't really like blind offers when we have this many offers on the property. Now, here's a hint to any buyer's agents. I always recommend when you send an offer over to any listing agent that you have the property address and the word offer in the subject line, because what happens is it's easier for the listing agent to identify your offer. Because if I just put the term offer in here, or it says something like document shared because you shared it using dot loop or remind, it's just going to get mixed in with all the other offers. So as a listing agent, I have several listings that are what are considered hot listings because we have multiple offers. I have to sort through all of these offers to find yours. The easiest way for me to do this is I just type in the property street name, and now everybody that's made an offer on Greenview is going to show up. So back to, that's a tip for buyers agents submitting offers to listing agents. But back to what I was saying, we had multiple offers come in from people that hadn't even seen the property. All they seen were the property photos, which were pretty good. This is a solid property, good for an investor or owner-occupant. Needs some cosmetics, tub needs reglazing, things of that nature. Has a newer furnace, newer hot water tank. There was some flooding in the basement. We had a huge storm earlier in the year, and the sellers never replaced the drywall in the basement. The drywall was cut maybe about, I think it was like 3 feet or 4 feet high. It was cut off at the bottom, so they never replaced that. But overall, it's a solid property for the price of $42,000. We received offers. We received 17 offers total. Of those 17, 3 were below asking price. Several were above asking price. People made offers with no inspection contingency. So what we did was, now keep in mind, the seller was not showing this property until January 2nd. So we simply here, if you can see in the notes here, we asked for highest and best with the deadline. Just let me because you have to understand this if you are a buyer, buyer's agent, or investor. So we ask for highest and best on this property. It's important. So for the general public, you probably don't know this, but there are public remarks that are here, and then there are agent remarks. Sometimes a buyer's agent will just pull the MLS sheet and not even read the agent remarks, or the print off that they're viewing. They're not printing out the full remarks here. So for example, 24-hour notice to show. We have multiple offers on this property. Sellers asking for highest and best by January 3rd at 6 p.m. So that's actually today at the time I'm recording this video. So what's unique about this is that even though highest and best, the deadline is today, I have people trying to schedule appointments for next Saturday. Because originally the seller, when she put a block on the showings, and she only wanted to show the property this Sunday and next weekend when her husband would be at home, because they didn't want to have any showings during the week due to the amount of interest and showings that were scheduled. And keep in mind, she's still trying to be safe, making sure everyone is wearing masks and things of that nature. So if an agent simply reads this, knowing that we have multiple offers, it's not likely this home will be available next week. So reading is very important for the buyer and the buyer's agent. So when I get calls with people saying, well, I'm trying to show the property on January 9th or something like that, I'm like, did you read the comment section? Did you read the agent remarks? We have a deadline of today. The seller's going to make a choice this evening and have a response back to you guys by tomorrow. So I'm also putting here, if you are not one of the top 4 offers, we will notify you in advance. So any offers that are not even, I don't want a buyer sitting waiting, or a buyer's agent sitting around and waiting to see if their offer is accepted. If we have 15 to 17 offers on the property, and you're not in maybe like the top 6 or top 4, it's no need to have you wait an extra day when your buyer, or if you are the buyer, you can be out looking at other properties. So this may be a case where someone made an offer way below asking price, and we have property offers above asking price with the same terms and financing type and things of that nature. So basically, we have an equal or better offer to yours, and you're not in that top 5 category. That's what that means. So let's look here at the showings. This goes back to when she originally had that incident. Remember, I said there was a buyer that walked up and scared the hell out of the seller, and she was just like, no way, I can't have random people just walking up knocking on my door. She's on the west side of Detroit. Her husband was at work during the day. She didn't want that type of traffic coming in. And unfortunately, even some agents knocked on the door without an appointment. And so she just got frustrated. So these were all the showing requests. And you can see here, she declined most of these showings here. She approved several of them. So some people got in on Sunday. Some people that were not scheduled, we just told them, hey, this is the time frame she's going to be showing the property, and we allowed people to show the property during that time frame on Sunday between 11:30 and 2:30. Technically like an open house situation, but there was so much activity that we still had to consider the seller's well-being, because we wanted everyone to wear masks and be safe. And with that amount of foot traffic coming in, you have the agent, sometimes you have 2 or 3 buyers, you have an investor and maybe their contractor coming in. And imagine this 15 different groups of people coming into your home within a 2 or 3 hour time frame. So unfortunately, this wasn't a case where the seller was not living there or the seller was not at home, because they didn't have anywhere to go during this time, and they wanted to make sure people understood the process of what they were looking at when it came to the basement because of the previous flooding issues as well. So now here we are. We have several offers on the property. We're selecting through the offers. We have several offers. Actually, all the offers are cash. So one of the things I get is agents will call and say, hey, well, my buyer wants to make an offer on the property, or my buyer is making an offer and it's a cash offer. Well, out of the 15 offers we received so far to this point, 14 of them are cash. Usually in this price point, it is a 98% chance that it's going to be a cash offer, or you may find some private money lending or hard money lending offers. On the seller side, doesn't matter too much as long as you can close within a reasonable amount of time. Where it makes the difference is if you have a cash offer, say on this price point of $42,000. Let's say you had a cash offer at 40 and you had maybe a finance offer of 42,000, and you're talking about a 3 to 4 week difference in the time frame it's going to take to close. The seller may say, yeah, I'll just take the cash offers, $2,000, and I don't have to worry about appraisals and things of that nature. Whereas, or there's issues where some lenders don't want to do loans under a certain price point. But if there was a difference maybe of $10,000, the seller may be willing to wait those extra 2 or 3 weeks. So usually cash is king in most cases, but in this case, 98% of the people are offering cash. Anything under $50,000 is likely to have a high percentage of cash offers. That's just the norm. So when you as a buyer or a buyer's agent call and you tell the listing agent, hey, I have a cash offer, that's not really nothing that stands out because majority of the offers will be cash offers, especially if you look at pricing and terms. So this particular property, we would have considered FHA and conventional financing as well, but a lot of times you can just simply look here, and if the only terms they're accepting is cash, it's no need to say that your offer is cash. We know because that's the only thing we're accepting. So actually, if you're submitting anything other than cash, then your offer is not likely to get accepted. So as a buyer's agent, you just simply pay attention to the terms. If, and in this case, again, if the house is under a certain price point and you know your market and you know what the market data is and you know the statistics, you know a home like this is likely to sell cash. It's not even worth mentioning it to the listing agent that you have a cash offer, because in most cases they're all cash offers. So this is some of the things we deal with on the back end. So what I'm going to do is once I get all the offers in that we're submitting to the seller today, let me just go in my offers folder. So I'll just go in here and I'll put in Greenview. And what's going to happen is all of these offers are going to go into what we call an offer summary sheet, where I'm just going to take these properties, and it's going to look similar to this. We'll have the agent's name, buyer's name. I'll just enlarge the screen a little bit more. So instead of sending all of these offers with some of them have 10 pages, some of them have 20 pages, not every seller is tech savvy, so we don't want to overwhelm them, and now they're trying to figure out what each contract is. And here in Michigan, we don't have like one state contract, and we have multiple boards. Some agents are using their board of realtors contract, and they can belong to a different board. Some agents are using their company contract, and there are several different companies here that use different contracts for whatever reason. You can be in the same office and somebody's using a different contract. So the format and the layout of the contract is different. What I mean is that If I send that to a seller, the closing date may be on page 1 on one contract. It may be on page 3 in another contract. Or the price may be, it just becomes too complicated for a seller to read 15 different offers and try to decide. So what we do is we do a quick offer summary, and what we do is we point out the highlights. We look agent name, buyer's name, deposit amount, offer amount, terms. So we're either going to put cash, conventional, FHA, VA, private inspection period, closing date, and if they're offering occupancy. And then we'll add other details, like maybe we'll put notes in here for appliances and things of that nature, or if there's an escalation clause or appraisal guarantee. So we're simply going to have an entire list of all the offers in a summary because we hit all the key points in this offer. So once we do this, we'll send this to the seller. We'll have a phone conversation with the seller or a Zoom call, or sometimes we'll meet in person, and we'll ask the seller, do you want all the offers presented, or do you just want us to bring maybe the top 5 offers off of this list? And we'll sit down and then we'll go through each contract. So this just helps us make it easier for the seller to understand. So as a buyer and a buyer agent, because I'm still getting calls to this point, to this moment, I'm sorry, up to this point rather, about this property, and people are calling me and asking me, and not just buyers but agents are asking me, well, I want to get in on Thursday and the seller declined my showing. Well, the seller can actually decline any showing that they want. Just because a property is on the market, even though it would make sense for the seller to make the property available to everyone at all times, but just because a home is on the market doesn't always mean that the seller is going to accept every showing schedule appointment. And what that means is, for example, you have a seller that works a 9 to 5. They're not comfortable with people being in and out of their property while they are not home, maybe because they have valuables or pets or whatever the case may be. If you try to schedule at 11 o'clock, we may put in there as a listing agent, no showings until after 5 p.m., right? And the seller will accept showings after 5 p.m. But let's say you want to schedule for Thursday at 5, and maybe the seller has a appointment somewhere else, or they have other business to handle. Just because these are the times that the seller prefers, it doesn't mean Thursday at 5 the seller is always going to be available. Keep in mind that the market you're in, if the seller already has 9 or 10 offers and you're scheduling 2 days out, there's no real urgency for the seller to say, oh, let me make sure this person gets in 2 or 3 days from now. I'm not saying it's the best thing. If I was the seller, I would want everybody possible to see my home, but we have to understand that sellers also have a life to live outside of selling their property. So we just want to keep that in mind. There's a lot of things that go on the listing side of listing a property, especially when you have a property which is a hot property for sale. I have another one that's here, and I'm not going to go through all the details, but similar situation. But the difference on this property here is that this property was listed. This property is not occupied, so people are able to go and show this property. Agents can go and show it at any point in time. Now, here's the issue with this property. It has an alarm. And in the agent remarks, it says it has specific alarm instructions and details. And guess what I get on New Year's night, New Year's Eve, is a call from the alarm company and the seller. Some agent was showing the property, yes, on New Year's Eve, and triggered the alarm because they did not read the alarm instructions on showing time. So again, this is Reginald Perryman with regiusrealestate.com. Hope you learned something about what it means to be a listing agent and some of the things behind the scenes that we deal with on the listing side of listing these properties.